When janitor Marcus Webb saw an unsolved equation on a university blackboard, everyone expected him to erase it and move on. Instead, he solved it. But what the billionaire mathematics professor did when he discovered who solved his impossible problem will break your heart and restore your faith in second chances. This is that story. Marcus Webb wasn't supposed to be cleaning floors at Princeton University. 20 years ago, he was a mathematics prodigy, a kid from the south side of Chicago who could solve complex equations in his head before most people could read them on paper. His mother, Sarah Webb, was a public school teacher who recognized his gift when he was just 6 years old. She would stay up late with him, working through problems by candlelight when they couldn't afford to keep all the lights on. "Baby," she would tell him, her voice soft but certain, "God gave you a mind that can see patterns where others see chaos. Don't you ever let this world tell you that gift doesn't matter." Marcus had scholarships lined up. MIT, Stanford, Caltech. Professors were fighting over him. His future seemed limitless. But life has a way of rewriting even the brightest equations. The summer before his freshman year at MIT, his mother collapsed during a parent-teacher conference. Cancer. Stage 4. Pancreatic. The doctors gave her 6 months. Marcus was 17 years old, holding his mother's hand in a hospital room that smelled like disinfectant and dying dreams. "You go to school, baby," she whispered, her voice already weak. "You go and you make me proud." But Marcus couldn't do it. How could he sit in a classroom solving theoretical problems while his mother, the woman who gave him everything, fought for her life alone? He made a choice. He deferred his scholarship, got 3 jobs, spent every free moment by her bedside, reading to her, holding her hand, promising her he'd go back to mathematics someday. She lasted 3 years. 3 years longer than the doctors predicted. And on her last day, she made him promise something. "Marcus," she said, her hand trembling in his, "promise me you won't give up on math. Promise me you'll find your way back." "I promise, Mama. I promise." She died that night. Marcus was 20 years old, broken, and buried under $200,000 in medical debt. Going back to MIT was impossible. The scholarship was gone. The professors had moved on. His chance had passed. So he took the only job that would hire him without questions: night janitor at Princeton University. The same kind of place where he once belonged. Most nights, Marcus moved through those empty halls like a ghost, invisible to the world of brilliant minds that filled those classrooms during the day. But he still loved mathematics. Every night, after cleaning Professor David Langford's lecture hall, Marcus would pause at the blackboard. Langford was a legend, a billionaire mathematician who had made his fortune in quantum computing algorithms. But unlike most wealthy men, he still taught. 1 graduate course a year. When asked why, Langford always gave the same answer: "My son loved mathematics. Teaching keeps his memory alive." Marcus didn't know the full story then. He only knew that on the blackboard, Langford always left a problem. Not for his students, but for himself. Equations so complex that even PhD candidates couldn't touch them. Marcus would stand there, mop in hand, and stare at those equations. Sometimes for 5 minutes. Sometimes for an hour. He never touched them. That wasn't his world anymore. Until one Tuesday night in late September. Marcus had just finished mopping when he saw the new problem on the board. It was a proof related to prime number distribution, something that had stumped mathematicians for decades. But as Marcus stared at it, something shifted inside him. He could see the solution, not just pieces of it, the entire thing, clear as day. And suddenly, he wasn't standing in that lecture hall anymore. He was 6 years old, sitting at a kitchen table with his mother, her hand guiding his as they worked through problems together. He could hear her voice. "Don't you ever let this world tell you that gift doesn't matter." His hand reached for the chalk. For the first time in 8 years, Marcus Webb started writing mathematics. 30 minutes later, he stepped back. He'd solved it. Not just solved it, but elegantly, beautifully, in a way that even surprised him. His hands were shaking. His heart was pounding. But then reality crashed back in. He was a janitor. If anyone saw this, they'd think he vandalized the board. They'd fire him. And he couldn't afford to lose this job. He reached for the eraser. "Don't." Marcus froze. Professor David Langford stood in the doorway, briefcase in hand, staring at the blackboard with an expression Marcus couldn't read. "I forgot my notes," Langford said quietly, stepping into the room. He walked slowly toward the board, his eyes scanning every line of Marcus's work. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, his voice barely above a whisper, "My son would have loved this." Marcus didn't understand. Langford turned to face him, and Marcus saw something in the older man's eyes he hadn't expected. Grief. "My son, Daniel," Langford said softly, "was a mathematician. Brilliant. Kind. He died 5 years ago. Leukemia. He was 24. Langford's voice broke slightly. He used to solve problems like this. The exact same method. Creative. Unconventional. Beautiful. He looked back at the board. "Who are you?" I'm just the janitor, sir. Marcus Webb. I'll erase it right now." "No." Langford's voice was firm. "You're not just anything. Who taught you this method?" Marcus hesitated. "My mother. She was a teacher. She passed away 8 years ago. I was supposed to go to MIT, but—" He couldn't finish. Langford stared at him for a long time. Then he pulled out his phone, took a picture of the blackboard, and turned back to Marcus. "Be at my office tomorrow, 9 a.m. "But sir, I have to work." "Not anymore," Langford said, his voice gentle but certain. "Not unless you want to. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. Don't be late." The next morning, Marcus stood outside Langford's office, terrified. When he walked in, Langford gestured to a chair. "I looked you up last night," Langford said. "MIT scholarship. Full ride." Then nothing. "What happened?" Marcus told him everything. His mother, the cancer, the debt, the lost years. When he finished, Langford was quiet for a long time. Then he opened a drawer and pulled out a photograph. It showed a young man with kind eyes and a wide smile, standing in front of a chalkboard covered with equations. "That's Daniel," Langford said. "My son. He was supposed to change the world, but he never got the chance." Langford looked up at Marcus. "Last night, when I saw your work on that board, it was like seeing my son again. That same spark, that same gift." He leaned forward. "Marcus, I'm going to make you an offer. You can say no, but I hope you don't. I'm offering you a full graduate fellowship at Princeton, full tuition, living stipend, a research position in my lab, and I'm personally covering your debt. All of it." Marcus couldn't breathe. "Why?" he whispered. "Why would you do this?" Langford's eyes filled with tears. "Because I couldn't save my son. But maybe, just maybe, I can honor his memory by helping someone like you. Someone who still has a chance." He extended his hand. "Your mother believed in you. My son would have believed in you. Now it's time for you to believe in yourself. So what do you say, Marcus? Are you ready to keep your promise?" Marcus thought of his mother's last words. "Promise me you'll find your way back." He shook Langford's hand. "Yes, sir. I'm ready." 2 years later, Marcus Webb published a groundbreaking paper on prime number theory that won international recognition. He's now a tenured professor at Princeton, working alongside David Langford, who he calls his mentor and father figure. And every year, on the anniversary of his mother's death and Daniel Langford's birthday, Marcus teaches a free mathematics course for underprivileged students in Chicago. Because he knows what it's like to have a gift and lose it. And he knows what it's like when someone sees you when the world has looked away. David Langford later said in an interview, "Helping Marcus didn't bring my son back, but it helped me understand that Daniel's legacy isn't just in what he accomplished. It's in the lives we can still change in his name." This is a story about loss and hope, grief and healing, and the truth that sometimes the people we save end up saving us too. Because the greatest gift we can give isn't money or opportunity. It's belief. If this story moved you, subscribe for more life-changing stories. And remember, someone believed in you once. Now it's your turn to believe in someone else.